Good man, Trevor Alexander.
Shawn, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing well, man. It's been a great day so far.
You said a great day?
Yes, sir. It's been a great day so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, it always starts by when your eyes open up. That always makes it a great day. I had someone tell me once before, it was an older gentleman. That he said, we were talking and just recently actually about him getting a mortgage. And people ask me how I'm doing. And my classic line is always like, I want to be like you when I grow up, or I want to be somebody when I grow up, or I'm just, something like that. Right. He was like, well, I guess I'll never, I guess I'll never grow up because I always wanted to be a professional baseball player, and that's not going to happen. So I guess I'll never grow up.
Wow.
And so when you said that made me think about it. Yeah. Man. We're having some trouble right now. It looks like streaming live on LinkedIn. We're having trouble streaming to LinkedIn. This may be an issue on LinkedIn's issue. Hang on one second. Let me pull that back.
Okay.
And we'll start again, bro.
For sure.
All right, now we're live, it says. All right, so for all of you that missed us on LinkedIn, you missed my outstanding, fantastic story about an older gentleman that said he would never grow up because his dream as a kid was to be a professional athlete, professional baseball player, that is. And my man must have been in his 60s and 70s. And so unless he's like this bionic athlete and in amazing shape, his opportunity to make the Major League Baseball is pretty slim to none.
Agreed.
Yeah. So with that said, Trevor, welcome today. Again, we appreciate you you coming on to join us. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Certainly. Thanks, Shawn, for bringing me onto the stage. So my name is Trevor Alexander. Young man right here in the Washington, Baltimore area. And I'm just all about, building. And I mean, what I mean more specifically is it's a lot of the good things going on in the community, and I'm trying to play my part, everything from financial literacy to, just building communities physically. Shawn has helped me get into the real estate space. So I look forward to the conversation, man. Family man, soon to be married to my fiance. And just looking to be the best I can be.
That's awesome. Yeah, looking to be the best you can be. You're always the best you can be, though, sir. From what I can tell about you, that's why I'm excited to speak with you today. And so, Trevor, I guess I shouldn't get rattled a little bit. You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But LinkedIn is having some trouble streaming, and that's bothering me because I really want people to hear what you got to say. I'll repost it up there, though.
Okay.
We call this lending with purpose, and Trevor's conversations with clients and like you mentioned, and friends in different forms of professionals and resources that we use, that we look for, that we never knew existed or wanted to learn more about. And so we had you on today, and the one thing that I've always been impressed about you is you're the hardest working man in showbiz. Like you don't slow down. Like you have advanced degrees, like in regards to education and such. You spend a great deal of time educating the community on financial literacy. You have a scholarship foundation that you've done. You own real estate. You're about to get married and be a phenomenal husband. And if God willing, you have kids and stuff, you're gonna be an awesome parent too as well. But the one thing that's really impressive to me that I've seen that you've done is, like I said, number one, the scholarship program, but you're a Hennessy Fellow for the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Foundation.
Yes.
And so, can you tell us about that? Like, what does that mean? I was gonna crack a little joke because Hennessy, the drink, is widespread in our community, and we've taken care of Hennessy for a while. But it sounds like that they're giving back. So tell us about the Hennessy Fellowship that you've been awarded.
Definitely. So the Hennessy Fellowship program, Let's rewind 2 years ago. I moved up here to Baltimore, Maryland, to attend Morgan State University, the largest HBCU in Maryland, and what many people don't know, the oldest business school in the state of Maryland. So, my second year of the MBA program, Hennessy announced a 10-year, $10 million commitment to business students across the HBCU community here in America. So, I applied a rigorous application process and ended up being selected as part of the inaugural class. And what that entailed was a scholarship, a financial scholarship that paid for my second year of business school. Also, and more importantly, was just the networking. They sent us up to the Moet Hennessy headquarters in Manhattan, New York for a week long, just meeting executives, connecting with people. And also what spawned from that was a $10,000 grant for us to go back to the community and do something. And since I was concentrating in finance at Morgan State, and of course it's Hennessy, we all know that their line of spirits and wines is world renowned. I just came up with the brand Save and Sip to couple financial literacy with a more relaxed environment. So even till today, man, I'm still doing a lot of work with Hennessy. They've been extremely supportive. Had the chance to meet Arnold Bernal as of yesterday, the richest man in the world. And, it's just one of those experiences that I'm forever grateful for.
Wow. So tell us about Save and Sip.
Yeah. So Save and Sip, what Save and Sip is, really it's all about making financial literacy more comfortable, Shawn. So, in our community, not even just in our community, financial literacy is just not taught in schools, in public schools. So, when we go to become adults, all this stuff is relatively new: investments, portfolios, mortgages, insurances. And, I've always been very interested in that stuff. And going and doing an advanced degree in it, I feel like gave me some more credibility to take it back to my community. So what we do at Save and Sip, it started as like a podcast and a YouTube series where I would bring on, smart people like yourself, professionals in the industry. We would, over a bottle of Hennessy, over a glass of Hennessy, we would just have a conversation for the culture to really tap into. The way I look at it is, anytime we celebrate a birthday, anytime we celebrate an accomplishment, we go down to the clubs in DC and we're popping bottles of Hennessy. We're popping bottles that we know is part of our culture. Why can't we bring that same experience to the financial planning realm, so that when somebody opens up a trust or somebody opens up an IRA, we celebrate it with a nice beverage. So just try to incorporate the two to make it more comfortable for the community.
Right. And why is that important to you? Because, Trevor, you're a young man.
Yeah.
And you haven't experienced some of the things that some of the older generations have, like even your parents that, and their parents, fought so hard to give their kids like such a great opportunity. Like what clicked with you to have this type of passion to give in this way?
Man, you learn one or two ways in life, right? Either it happens directly to you, or you're smart enough to observe when it happens to somebody that's close to you. We all experience things in different ways. So when I went off to college and undergrad at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, I have a twin brother, I have two older brothers, and a sister. And at that time, Shawn, all of us were going into college, and my mom was as well. I'll never forget knowing that she was stressing about something. I'm talking about tapping into her retirement accounts, trying to, second mortgages. This is 3 years after the 2008 financial recession. And although I didn't know the details, I saw her stressing. And so my grandma, she passed away of cancer my second year of college, and she was co-signing on those student loans. She was helping out. And I'm just like, if I can ever figure out this financial stuff, I'm going to do it. And, once I opened up that book, I never turned around. So, just now that I'm a little bit older and my mom is a bit more transparent with like some of the things that stressed her out financially, and she's a upper middle class woman. What it says to me is, if my mom is struggling with that, what are the middle class, the lower income, the single moms, the families that are less educated struggling with? And it's a world of clients out here that I've been able to work with one-on-one to just help them get the foundation set, so that they can build upon that, man. It's such a need in our community.
That's awesome, man. It's good to hear. So yeah, that struck a chord. Like when you mentioned you were in college, but your mom was also in college too as well.
Yeah.
So you all started pretty much at around the same time.
Yep.
And for her to be transparent with you, to give you the information, because that's the thing is like, and I know you are, it's about solving problems, right?
Yes.
And so the problem that you're solving are the issues that your mom and your parents faced,
Yep.
right? To through their journey to get where they were. And so you reverse engineered it all, it sounds like to me, to be able to give the information to help someone not to have to go through the similar situations that, maybe your mom did or someone else. So no, that's good. I'm also very impressed. I'm impressed with you about a lot of stuff, but the scholarship, you have a Trevor Alexander Scholarship fund. Like cool, man. Like,
yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, man. So 2016, I came back home after moving from Norfolk, and got my first job. Got my first job was living at home with the parents, and what really happened, Shawn, I was working out in Herndon, Virginia, and I thought I was going to have to move out of state for a different position. So it was one of those, what can I leave here? What can I leave? Because so many people have poured into me. And one of the, quickest routes I thought of was just start a scholarship. So started it. What it looked like was I contacted every single high school in Prince William County, Virginia, all 15, 16 high schools, got in contact with every head counselor, drafted up a nice website, nice PDF, and awarded my first scholarship recipient that year, Demia Bryson. She went on to North Carolina State to study computer science. The second year, turned it into a 501c3, expanded the scholarship to Fairfax County. And every single year, our applicants have doubled. And, it's such a joy reading through all of those scholarship packages one by one with my scholarship board every single year, because it motivates me how much these kids are pushing to do their best. And so just building that scholarship, getting donors, even when you help me close on a mortgage, donating to my scholarship fund, it's just such a that's been one of my most fun experiences, man, because to be able to put my name on it and have people apply to it, because a lot of people also in our community just don't realize how much scholarship money is just sitting out there untapped to help alleviate some of these higher education costs. So yeah, man, it's been a joy. And to put the icing on the cake, since I started that scholarship in 2016, I've directly helped an additional 24 scholarships throughout the state of Virginia via friends, family, and fraternity brothers who have also started their own scholarships. I just gave them the simple blueprint to go pilot it at their high schools.
That's awesome. I'm going to hit you up about that too as well. We're starting one as well, and
Excellent.
mine is around. I want to give money for books, because I remember how difficult it was to pay for those books. $500, $1,000, as much as $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
For books. I'm not quite sure how they do it now. It's been so long since I've been in college, but something that gave me a great deal of cushion when I entered into school my freshman year is someone for graduation gave me a check, told me I could only use the money to purchase books. And so, sure enough, my mom kept that money aside and earmarked it. And she did not let me cash it, or she, we cashed a check, but she held the money. This money is for your books when you go to school.
Yeah.
And that really helped. That really helped like a lot for me to be able to do that. How does like in regards to your scholarship fund, like how do you? What's the criteria? Like what's your criteria? I should say.
Yeah. So so I'm looking for leaders. The criteria, I made it really based off of kind of what my journey was. And that my journey was, I never had the high grades. I never really had over a 3.5 until I got to graduate school. And high school, college, it was always I held many leadership positions, but the GPA I kind of struggle with. So my minimum GPA requirement is a 2.8. I require 2 letters of recommendation. I require a personal statement, and also for it to be a STEM major, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So that was my criteria, and also business. So you can be applying to either a community college or four-year university. It's indifferent to me. And that's the criteria I require for all the applicants to submit it in one nice PDF for us to review. And then we make our decisions after that. So, and then, once the decision is made, I kind of carry it different every single year. I usually give the parent a call directly and let them know that their son or daughter has been selected. And then sometimes we do a dinner at their house or attend a award ceremony. So, yeah.
And generally speaking, like how many awards do you or scholarships do you issue per year?
Every year we do one. The first year we actually did 2.
Okay. And about how much is a scholarship?
We give them $1,000 straight cash.
That's nice. That's good stuff. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I know you want to give more, but eventually, because I know how competitive you are and how much you want to help the community. But $1,000 is a lot of money. So no, that's awesome. And then like, what's the deadline? Like, so for instance, kids are about to graduate, or some schools have already done their graduation. Is it too late to get into your scholarship fund, like to be eligible? Like, deadline passed?
No, the deadline is actually May 31st.
Okay.
So the deadline is always up right until the end. Like most things in life, most people apply in those last week to 2 weeks. We all procrastinators, right? So yeah, it's that. And then I always just, because there's not in-person award ceremonies this year for high schools, I'll be notifying the recipients by July 1st so that they can have the money before the school year this fall.
Got it. All right, cool. We're gonna move into your home ownership situation.
Definitely.
Somewhat of a unicorn, man. Like I was when I first got the opportunity to speak with you about it some years ago, I was like, you do what now? He's like, yeah, I bought a house, I rent rooms. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that, Trevor. Like, what was the idea behind that? Because you bought it when you were in college, right?
Yes.
Graduate school.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about that.
Yeah. So yeah, when I moved up here to Maryland, it was all right. I want to buy a home, and I wanted to buy a home very close to the university. You've connected me with shout out Torrance Reed and some of the folks you connected me with that do HBCU that want to invest in real estate near historically Black colleges, and that was one half of my goal. So I acquired a property, and my second half was, man, it's time to cover some of these mortgage costs. It's expensive out here. So I'd heard the term house hacking, which usually is buying a duplex, a triplex, a quadplex, and living in one of the units while your roommates cover the overhead cost. And I just got a 3-level townhome, and I immediately began to just market it across Morgan State and Johns Hopkins, the 2 neighbor universities. And by the grace of God, I was able to get 3 very cool roommates within my first 3 months that still live there to this day. It helped cover help cover the mortgage. It helped me save. And Shawn, what I really do like most about it, since my goal is to long-term hold these properties, God willing, is, we all will reach a level of financial independence where I want to be able to say, hey, if a kid 5 years from now moves into a property that I own by Morgan State and he has a financial issue, I want to be able to just give somebody a year off. I think that's the biggest perk of ownership, is that you control the rules. And, it meant the most to me like that. And it's a win-win situation. Sometimes people are like, well, you're the landlord, is that a good or a bad thing? But I look at it like all the people who I leased to have become friends. We bonded, and we all had a financial burden, alleviated, because, many hands make light work. And, I've replicated that process. Now I'm moving into another property a half mile up the street, and renting the basement out to a college student. So I'm just looking to, rinse and repeat as many times as I can.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And so, but like, what was your mindset when you were doing that? Were you afraid, or was it just like you had a plan and you're just like, this is gonna work anyway? Like you didn't put much thought into it because you knew it would work. Like, what was your mindset of actually doing that? Because people talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, they really talk about these things a lot. You scroll through social media, every single person is talking about this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Many are living it, but like you actually did it.
Yeah.
And so, like, what was your mindset behind that and what drove you to do it? And so, number one, that piece. And then number two, what resources did you use to get it done?
Yeah. So, from the mindset piece, I mean, I really had to buckle down and believe that it was possible. So any type of resource that was promoting that, I tunneled in. There were podcasts, there were books that I just had to kind of reiterate to myself to make myself believe it was a good decision. Mentally, I feel like I was prepared because I come from a home that I've always lived with 5+ people. And, I didn't really look at it as like, wow, I'm going to be having people in here. What if I don't get along with them? What if I got to kick somebody out? What if my lease isn't written up correctly? All of the, the could ifs. I really just saw it as an opportunity to connect with people in a new city, and also help me, be able to replicate this process mentally and financially. And so, yeah, man, living it through, once the ball got rolling, it really just felt like a great decision. Another thing is, since most of these people who I rent out to, my ideal roommate is a college or a graduate college student. And I tell them, look, you need to be trying to do the same thing. You need to be trying to buy properties right here near these universities. So we can't always take our money and run off. And as far as the resources, oh man, I leveraged. I definitely leveraged campus, the library, the student center. I always had the best looking flyers out there. Twitter. I actually got a roommate from Twitter. I would go to the hashtags, and I saw a parent pretty upset that the university had limited housing. And so I would just always be on the lookout. I would DM parents that were, kind of mad, and I would let them know that I had an availability for their son or daughter. And if they would trust me as a first time, homeowner, as a young man, I would make it worth their worthwhile. So, everybody just helped me out. And then even talking with you, refinancing a property to make it more of a cash flow last year when interest rates dropped, that helped moving forward as well. So it's been a lot of solid resources, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I power of the hashtag. I wrote down hashtag Twitter.
Yeah.
I honestly would have never thought to do something like that, and to follow that. And then I'm sure that was pretty receptive, right, from the parents.
Yeah,
like a dialogue with them too, as well, about their pain points and how you could potentially solve their problem.
Yeah, it was funny the way it happened. It happened like in the span of 90 minutes. I got online. I saw a tweet that got retweeted, and I went directly to the inbox. And within a couple of days, he came out, saw the property, signed the lease next week, and it was like, wow, social media is powerful.
Wow, I wish. Anyway, hindsight 2020. Like looking back, if I would have known then what I know now. At the great George Mason University, buying a house in Fairfax, Virginia, at least right now, is very expensive.
Oh man!
But looking back at the real estate, 20 years ago, that could have been some great opportunity. And then, like you mentioned, you get a few roommates and they subsidize that mortgage for you, so it makes it a lighter for you. I'm the person though. I was just sitting here thinking, like, I honestly would have a hard time having a bunch of roommates.
Yeah.
With me, I wouldn't be that guy. I would be that guy that would say, forget about mindset. Like I'm not worried about it. But you made a comment. You were used to that environment, having your siblings and your family all being in the same house together. But yeah, I was a spoiled only child, so like it would have been.
Yeah, no, it definitely, like you said, man, it's a lot of great information out here, but until you really commit yourself to doing something, you're going to run into issues. Of course, as a first-time property owner, that's whether you're deciding to rent out a room or not. You're going to have to learn how to, upkeep things, but then also managing personalities right there in the spot. These are college-age students, so there's going to be, fights. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be all that good stuff. But as long as you know that what you're getting yourself into, then the rest is easier to manage.
Got you. How do you set up your rent situation? Like, how do you determine how much each room is? Number one. Number two, what if they don't pay? Like, do you have a system set up for something like that? Like, help us out, because there are some people that are listening to this that, number one, either are, want to duplicate what you're doing, or they have children that they because people contact me all the time about buying houses instead of using the on-campus housing and such. I want to do exactly what you're doing, but like that whole piece of like the friction part, folks worry about. Like, so how did you set your agreements up?
Yeah, so I set my agreements up. Everybody's on an individual lease agreement. I actually, when I first drafted up my lease, somebody pointed out to me, it said, hey, you can't hold everybody jointly liable. If you have 4 people in here and one doesn't pay their rent, well, that's an individual issue. You can't hold everybody else. So that was one that I caught early on. I try to keep things as flexible as possible. Since I was living there, working full time and able to cover the mortgage if I needed to, honestly, Shawn, I told myself if there was ever too big of a headache on either side, well, hey, just give me a 90-day notice and you can break the lease. I didn't want to live anywhere while being in graduate school that would be, mentally exhausting. So I let the parents know. I love dealing with the parents because usually they're more financially stable. I try to interface with them and not the students as much, but just giving them that flexibility. For an example, it was myself, two gentlemen and a younger woman. She was a sophomore. I knew her mom would have some concerns about her daughter living with all men. And so what I put in the lease for her specifically was, if for whatever reason your daughter feels uncomfortable, if somebody says something or does something, well, you can break this lease immediately. Yes, that $650 per month, I wouldn't want to lose it, but giving her mom that peace of mind was more important to me than, any type of money. So just digging into the details, getting that feedback was big. From a number standpoint, I kind of had to guess. I had always heard about the 1% rule, and what the 1% rule is, you take the purchase price of the property, let's say $200,000. You take 1% of that, which is $2,000, and if you can get at least 1% of the purchase property of the the overall price of the house and rent per month, then it's a pretty good deal. So I use that as my baseline. My first house was $175,000, so I use that as a baseline. And then finally, because parents are typically paying for their kids and they like things to be as clean as possible, I make it a bundle package where I include everything. The kids aren't paying for utilities or internet. I couple that as one flat payment.
And then do you have them pay monthly or they pay quarterly? They pay the whole year? Like how's that work out for you in regards to the rent?
Yeah, 75% of my roommates, tenants, they pay monthly. A couple have offered and decided to pay quarterly. And when that does happen, I give them a discount of typically 10 or 15%. Of course, as an investor, money up front is always better because you can do something with it immediately. So I do that, and when I'm looking for roommates, when I'm out at these universities, I typically say, hey, you can sign for a year, or you can sign per semester, which is typically 4 months, because around July and December, there's always students that are looking to move into a new situation. So that makes it pretty easy for me.
Wow, we should have had the whole conversation about this. Like, forget the small talk and leading up to this. Trevor's about to kick everybody out of the house, though. Like, you don't pay your rent, y'all all gotta go.
Everybody gotta go.
Everybody gotta go. I'm like, bro, I paid my rent, man. What you gotta leave? So I took individual contracts. I was taking some notes too as well. Okay. The one piece that I took away from this too as well is you have to be able to afford the entire mortgage. Like, plan for the worst. So if everybody in the house doesn't pay a mortgage or pay their rent one month, somebody's got to cover that mortgage payment. So in your situation, you made sure that your income was able and your pay was able to cover the mortgage payment. Worst case scenario. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man.
Got it. And then very smart for someone individual that's just getting into this, deal with the parents, not the kids, not the not the in this case. If someone's more mature, I guess, and they're in the workforce and they're in a graduate level situation potentially, but 9 times out of 10, the parents are going to be involved with paying for the housing, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then I like the 1% rule.
Yeah, that seemed to help a lot. And for the parents, for anybody that's watching, we all know that college is extremely expensive, but the brunt of that is, room and board. The brunt of that is what you're paying. You're required to have these meal plans. That's not new. And so what I say is, to help your son or daughter not come out with an additional 20 to 30% in federal loans, you're saving. My price comparison to the university is about 30% cheaper. And so, these loans are much more easier to manage after these kids graduate.
Yeah. No, that's all, dude. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I go on record, as I said earlier, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Very proud. And I like what you're doing out there. Save and Sip. How do we get to that?
Yes. You can go to saveandsip.com. You can follow us on any social media handles at Save and Sip. And SIP, just FYI, it stands for Socialize, Invest, Prosper. Yes, we have a drinking component for both non-alcoholic and alcoholic, people that drink, but that's what the acronym stands for. So you can go on our social media channels. We'll be doing some in-person events as well in the Washington, Baltimore area now that things are opening back up.
And it's is it AND?
Yes, AND.
All right, so saveandsip.com. So I listen to the podcast. It's great. You do a great job with it.
Thank you.
Very entertaining and definitely informative. I like what you've been doing with this Bitcoin lately, man, because everybody thought they were master of it in 2020, and it reared its ugly head here recently.
Exactly.
But good job.
Yeah.
So saveandsip.com. And then before I let you go, because I've held you long enough, is there anything else that we can do to help you? I think you should put your scholarship information up there too as well. Like how do we access the scholarship fund?
You can go to alexanderscholarship.org. You can send any students in the Prince William or Fairfax County, Virginia school districts to that site, seniors. And also there's a donation. We're 501c3. And if anybody wants to make, donations where they're always appreciated to help these students out.
That's awesome. Yes, please donate to that. So Trevor, you get one person. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You get one person, one question, the person's dead or alive, whatever it might be. And you could be, breakfast, lunch, coffee, dinner, email, phone call, whatever it might be. One person, one question. Who would it be? And what would you ask?
Man, I'm gonna go with my late grandma, Elaine Sally White, passed 7 years ago. I would just tell her I love her, and I would ask her. It's a little selfish. I would ask her to cook. I would ask her to cook for the family, and just ask her, could she make the wedding next year?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's what I would ask her. Yeah.
What would you ask her to cook?
Oh man, what wouldn't I ask her to cook?
You only get one thing now. I might change it up. I might turn this into a food show or something. But what would you ask your grandmother to cook?
Man, probably turn on a slow cooker and just do some type of just like roast. No, matter of fact, I would make it a really cold month. I would ask her to make some chili. Just do some real just nice hot chili. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I know she's proud of you too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Trevor, thank you for your time today. I'll close it out. I'll ask you to, stay on real quick with me. We debrief, but yeah, it means a lot that you were able to, take time out of your busy schedule today to join us. Everybody out there, as you can see, these relationships that we have are so important. It would be such a shame for me to have these relationships, like I say every week, and not be able to share that information with you all. So just keep tuning in. Putting the comments in post show and things like that. If there's anything that we can do in any way to help you, don't hesitate to reach out. Remember to stay safe and healthy. It's important that we do that as best as we possibly can. And we will see everybody next week, next Thursday at 2:00. Thanks again, Trevor.
Thanks, Shawn.